watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Right, Chris.
The Premier League is back and we've got it all covered here on Leicester Till I Die TV. Subscribe.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye. Hello, wherever you are in the world. One of those will apply to you. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you are watching via YouTube, if that is your viewing choice, or Twitch. Welcome along, join in, add your comments into the chat. If you're watching on catch up, you can add them in the chat below. And if you are listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you very much for lending me your ears. You can follow us on all the main social media channels. Just search LTID TV. But we're here to talk that guy, Jordan Ayew. Are we becoming the senior citizens club of the Premier League? Are we really relieved that we are not in Europe because we don't have to play on Thursday because it's pension collection day and half the team will be down the post office collecting theirs? We've signed another 30-plus-year-old. Apparently, it's experience. Or is it too old? What are we paying for? Is he a safer bet than, let's say, Schmodic, who has gone to Ipswich? 5 million, apparently. 3 million in add-ons. Wow. 2-year deal. Let's hope we get to the end of the 2 years before we have to pay any add-ons at all. But we're going to be talking to him, and I've got a very special guest in with me today. You'll remember him, Eagle-Eyed Football, a great channel, great friend of the channel. It's Rich, and I'll bring him in after this. Rich, good afternoon, sir. It's been a while. How the devil are you?
Me and myself, I'm good. Me as a Palace fan, I'll let you know after Friday.
Has the swing door got stuck in just the outgoing way?
It's like every time we have a little bit of momentum, someone says, "Hey, hold on a second, pump the brakes here. We're not supposed to be anything higher than 10th. Like, what are you doing?"
Well, apparently, I believe that your owner's put in an application to change your name to Crystal Palace 10th. That will be your new name from now on.
Honestly, I don't know. But other than that, I'm good. And thanks for having me.
Good.
Chris.
Good. Well, at least you haven't got a points deduction hanging over your head.
Well, as it stands, you've got a point in the league table, so take what you can. Get as much points as you can before that deduction potentially arrives.
I think we need to get a few more on the board, certainly. Look, I want to talk this guy. We are desperate for strikers at the club. We've got Jamie Vardy, who's 37, going on 20. I mean, how he's still going, I don't know. The way he played at the weekend on Monday night against Spurs, having not played hardly any pre-season, well, only one pre-season game, is amazing. But we can't rely on him. Daka, who, my local junkie can shoot up better than he can shoot at the goals. He is awful. He's in a hospital boot at the moment. Maybe that would improve his shooting. I don't know. And then we've got a youngster, Cannon, who we bought last season, who looks good, but Enzo hardly ever played him. Cooper's not even played in pre-season, so I don't know. So we need a striker, and we go and get this guy. Now, I'm hoping that you're going to tell me that he is Messi in disguise, and that he will come in and he will set the Premier League alight, because I am looking at the stats, and we'll come on to the stats in a moment, and I have to be honest with you, they don't really excite me.
No, absolutely. Listen,
I'm not getting that excitement I get like when I look at Heidi Klum or somebody like that. You know what I mean? I get like, I mean,
No, I just find it ironic you called him Messi because actually we call him the Ghanaian Messi at times. So.
do you? You see, that's
Yeah,
good. But then again,
predominantly for
do
Bants,
I
but you know.
when we signed Vestergaard and Bertrand from Southampton, they were really big in up because they wanted them to go because they hated them. So I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you, Rich. So tell me
You know
about
what's
this guy.
You know what's crazy? I think a lot more of the fan base are more upset that he's going than Anderson is.
Really?
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, and I think
I
it's
have to
more
say a
so.
lot.
I think there's two reasons for that. One, because we haven't really got many attackers, and two, what he can like. No disrespect to Anderson, but I think Anderson's replaceable. But what Jordan Ayew can give you, granted, his output ain't the greatest. I think the last 2 seasons they've improved again. But what he gives you, as in like work rate, he buys you fouls. He's clever. He's a very clever footballer in that sense. Even like we had Roy Hodgson at the beginning of last season, I would say Ayew was our most influential player up until the likes of Eze and Ise came back into full fitness. And obviously, unfortunately for him, as soon as Elise was fit, Ayew was back on the bench. Some may say that's not fair, but no, listen, Elise he was just unbelievable. He was just that good, you know. But literally, Ayew carried us pretty much last season in like his performances. Like I said, the goals and assists there was quite a few assists. The goals maybe not so much, but what he offered us game by game, invaluable.
Now that's interesting because years and years ago we signed a lad called Tony Cottee, and he was at the end of his career, and we're thinking like, what the hell's Martin O'Neill doing signing Tony Cottee? You know, he's past his best. But at the end of the day, he knew what he was doing, and he had younger players around him like Emile Heskey to do the running for him, if you like. And we've just signed Dakova Reed from Fulham. Now he's in his 30s as well. And what I've seen in the last 2 games is they're not going to run 90 minutes for you, but he was getting into those positions. And it's very interesting that you're saying the same with Ayew. He's got the brain rather than the legs, maybe.
But even with the legs, you're going to get him working back for you. Like he works hard going forward and going backwards. You know, so you're not going to ever question his work rate, his tenacity, and what he offers in like the grander scheme of things. The biggest of his question mark is what's the output going to be, and it's unfortunate because we've become so fixated on GNA. You know, so fixated on it that, and now players, we don't look at players for what they're offering anymore. It's like, oh, what did he score or did he assist?
Yeah,
you know, like I speak to someone like some of the youngsters, and they're like, "Oh, Zidane weren't that great. He didn't have a big GNA." What? And this is what I mean. But it's not their fault. It's just what they're exposed to these days. You know,
because I mean they're looking at it here, and obviously centre forward is his main area, but he also plays on the wing. And Steve Cooper, just like these players, same with Dakova Reed, that can fill in 2 or 3 positions if needed. And I mean the guys were sort of talking last night when we did the prediction show, and this happened live while we were on air. And they're saying like, well, you've got Jamie Vardy who's 37. He's going to maybe play 60 minutes. And if he comes off, somebody like Jordan Ayew coming on for the last 30 minutes, just to strengthen things up, you know, or vice versa, even do it vice versa, you know, they could be a great combination together without actually playing together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you now, there's no better person to have to wind down the clock than Jordan Ayew. No, but if you're winning a game or if you're trying to hold him for a draw, he will buy you so many fouls that the clock will keep ticking. You know, he is so good at that.
So, but why then are you selling him?
So we've always kind of had a model of players above 30 we don't give 2-year contracts to.
Right.
Yeah, so we've had like he's had a rolling 1-year contract the last couple of years, you know.
Right.
And then obviously the fact that he's not going to start many games for us. He wants to play football, you know. So if we were to agree on him having a 2-year deal and him stay and know that he's a bit part player coming off the bench and stuff, we would have been happy to keep him. But yeah, just the policy that we have really at the club. It happened with Czech Kyoto as well, and that's why he left us a couple of seasons back, because we didn't want him from a 2-year deal, which I think was our biggest mistake. But it is what it is.
I mean, it was the same with Jacoby Reed. He was being offered 2 years at Fulham, wanted 3. We offered him 3, and he came to us. 5 million with 3 million add-ons, not just. I know it says plus £3 add-ons. It's actually 3 million, not just 3. That's £3. That's a bloody good deal. There we sorted that one out. Overpaid, underpaid.
Can I be honest with you? Overpaid.
Yeah.
Overpaid. I'll be very honest with you. Like, even the fact that there's a potential it could get up to 8 million is like, well, we bought it for 2.5. It's like, yeah, we'll take the money. Thanks for your services, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, initially, I think it started at 3 million, and even us, like as a fan base, were like, granted, that's still like $500,000 profit. Would we be willing to let him go for 3 million? We're like, no, we'd rather keep him. You know. But then obviously this has come about. It was like, oh, great. I'm hoping the add-ons are just performance based, as in like how many games he plays, as opposed to winning the Ballon d'Or or anything like that.
Yeah, I wish. No, but I think it's probably staying up, because that's what the add-on we've got with a lot of other players. And yes, it is 3 million, Andrew, you little bugger. I know if anybody was going to pick me up on that, you would. But yeah, I guess most of that is if we stay up, then that would apply. It just seems, if it had been, say, 5 million, I would have kind of got, yeah, okay. And 3 million add-ons on its own isn't strange, if you like. If you're paying 20 million, then you're adding 3 million on. You kind of get it. But 5 plus 3, it just seems a hell of a lot. I don't blame you at all. You get whatever you can get, for a player on that. But interesting that you say that you think you have a way. But I've been looking at the Palace pages and what have you, and your fans do seem quite sorry that he's going.
Yeah, and as I said earlier on, it's almost as if like this one hurts them more than Anderson going, just because I think of there's a massive worry that we won't replace him. Like, it's a big worry. Now, some may say Ismaili Sarr is that replacement, but when we're trying to kick on, we're trying to obviously build on what we did back in the last season. We're going to need multiple players. Glasnow's system is very high press and high intensity. That injuries will happen, and not only that, remember, we still got 6 days left. Eze and Gay can still be gone too, which means we'll have more attackers' space to fill out, and obviously defensively as well. Yeah. So it's a case of like, as a club, as it stands right now, we don't even have enough players right now to let an Ayew go unless something gets done in a week. And knowing us, we're either trying to penny pinch or sell to buy, and it's just, we're on ropes at the moment as a fan base. We're just like, we could actually end up the window looking worse than we once were. And I think the biggest frustration with this whole transfer market at the moment is that this happened off the Roy Hodgson did an amazing job. Because we started off in that period where with Leicester and Southampton and Leeds, we were one of the teams that was in there, and Roy Hodgson did an amazing job, then didn't get backed properly in the summer. And this is the problem. We go for a good period, then we're not backed. So it's like, oh, we're starting again, and yeah, we have to see.
Yeah. Those are his stats there. I mean, if we're buying him as a striker, that's 5 seasons, 4-4-3-1. Then when you go back to the 5th season, that he got 9. See, that's what worries me. When but
what I will say though is the 9s came when he played up front. The 4s and the 3s were more so when he was playing as a winger.
Really, right,
yeah.
Right. But I'm going to say, because do you think, though, these days, clubs, I mean, yes, I'm old enough to remember 4-4-2 and, and all that. And your striker was the one that got you the goals, and occasionally other players around the pitch would chip in with one. These days, it's the norm that your wingers will probably get as many as there's less pressure on the one man up front. And because I say, if you look at that, you're thinking, what? And that's what I did panic when I looked at that. I'm thinking, possibly 8 million for 4 goals a season. But like you say, we've got wingers, and yes, he may play out on the wing. Who knows? But we've got a lot of wingers now, and I think it is that up front. There may be another one coming in. Like you said, there's a week to go. We don't know. And look, I guess, and somebody just in the chat has just compared it to Schmodic, because we're all saying, like, why didn't we get Schmodic? We should have gone for him. Blackburn Rovers last season. But it is a gamble, isn't it? If you're buying somebody from the Championship, as good as they are there, you don't know that they're going to bed into the Premier League. What I suppose we're getting is this guy knows the Premier League.
No, absolutely. And I mean, look, he got 4 goals last season. He also got 7 assists. And granted, part of that time we were playing under Roy Hodgson and struggling. So it's based on how you see things. And that's why I'm saying, like, he was pivotal to us, especially up until like Christmas. He was very key to us. There was a game against Liverpool at Sellers Park where he got sent off. I don't know why. I think it was a bit harsh, but he was phenomenal. He was incredible in that game. And that's the things that you won't see, like what he's doing where he's not scoring the goals and getting assists, what he's doing outside of that. So it's really good. He's a good player in that aspect.
That's the thing, and this is why it's great to talk to you, because we do, as fans, judge immediately. So, we got it right. Let's make our opinion. He hasn't even put the blue shirt on yet. Let's form an opinion. And like I say, Dakova Reed, when he's come in, it's what he's been offering us off the ball and what have you. But overall, as a closing statement on Jordan, then you think? I mean, yes, you've got the business because you've got 8 million possibly for a player that you think that's a lot of money for. But you think we have got a decent guy that's really going to help the team out in more than ways than just putting the ball in the net.
No, absolutely, he will do. And I think also, like, I don't know what your financial status is. If you've already got points to it and looming, could you spend 10, 15, 20 million? You might have to, you're boxing clever. I think that's what you're having to do this season, just to make sure that you're still in line with everything. And this is a box clever deal. It may not tickle everyone's fancy for the immediate, but if it keeps you afloat, it keeps you in the Prem, and it keeps you with as less points deductions as possible, it's a good risk.
And I mean, I'm not disrespecting Palace and I'm not disrespecting Ayew, but we are now back to shopping in Aldi, where last time in the Premier League we were shopping in Waitrose because we won the thing, we won the FA Cup. So we are. It is a different market now. But quickly, Palace. What's happening with this guy that owns a share in Palace that now might be going after Everton? You're going to be losing one of your owners as well.
Yeah, John Texter. So basically, he's actually the majority stakeholder. The problem is he doesn't get the final say. Parish does, and that's kind of always been the way. So he wants to have final say, or he wants to at least have a bigger say, because he's thinking, I'm the one that's giving in the most money, and I have the high stake. So it's such we've heard about this Everton thing from last season, and it's been such a merry-go-round, where even to the point where 2 days ago there was reports saying that he put in one final bid to even buy out 2 of our other owners, Harris and Blitzer, and take over their shares, because he wants to have full say of Palace. That got rejected, and he's now said, all right, cool, I'm going to let the Everton fans know, look, I'm not trying to have you a second fiddle, I'm just being transparent with you. Yes, this is where I'm at the moment. I'm trying to say, listen, I'll buy them. If not, I'm moving on. I want to be able to have sole ownership or be the main owner of the Premier League club. And he'll probably be at Everton come January.
And that's going to have a huge impact on you, isn't it?
I think it already has. I'm thinking, why have we not got money? Even though we've sold players. So I think it actually already has had an impact. Like, the fan base are asking questions like, what is going on? Does Texas moving impact it? Is this what's happening? No one knows. So like I said, I will reserve all my frustrations until 11 p.m. on Friday when we actually find out what on earth has happened. Because we could end up buying 3 players next week, and then it'll be like, okay, we've done what we needed to do. Sort of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been using an F1 analogy all pre-season, and that is, we know we're at the race. We may be starting in the pit lane with this thing hanging over us, but at least we're at the race, and if we go down financially, we're still going to get the payoff, the parachute payments and what have you. What annoys me, football these days, and PSR wasn't introduced. PSR was introduced to try and sort out the dodgy owners and what have you. And look, these owners, they've got the money. We're just not being allowed to spend it. And there's so many clubs that are in that position. And then you got the likes of, as we know, Chelsea and Man City. They say what they do.
I was going to say that it's stopping certain clubs from spending.
Yes, right. But what annoys me is that I know the league table probably at the end of this season, and I don't think we're the only club that's going to be hit outside the top 6. I think there's a couple of other clubs that might
I think Forest and Everton may have it again. Newcastle might as well if they're not careful.
They're sailing close to the win. But that final league table will be decided by 10, 12 men in suits sat round a table. Not 22 players on a pitch kicking the ball. That isn't football for me.
No, absolutely. And it kind of almost had that impact last season with both Everton and Forest, who eventually both stayed up, But as you said, it could have been the case where these bigwigs in their boardroom offices relegated the Premier League side.
I think they were very lucky, Forest and Everton last season, that they had 3 such bad teams that had come up, and it might be the same this season.
Especially with it's a weird one with Burnley because it's like they had a very late surge, but it was just way too late. Because I was sitting there thinking, Burnley could survive here.
I know. Well, I was hoping so because Forest would have gone down, but hey, that's just a personal choice. But Rich, it's great to see you again. Thank you so much for coming on and just sort of giving us an insight. Like I say, we look at it, we look at the stats, and we put 2 and 2 together, and more often than not come up with 5. So it's great.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll have a chat with you when we meet later in the season.
Yeah, I think we've got you in a couple of weeks now.
It's not that far away, is it?
Yeah. No. I think we've got West Ham today, Chelsea, then Leicester. Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be in about 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, we've got
14th of September.
14th. And it's at your place.
Yeah, after the international break.
I love your ground because that was where we sang for about an hour and a half after the game that we were going to win the Premier League. And bless us, you never chucked the fans out. I love your ground. You were begging us to go, but you didn't chuck us out.
Well, we do have fun at Sellers Park.
It is. It's one of the few sort of old, and no disrespect again, older grounds that you still got that atmosphere, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But look, brilliant, mate. Thank you so very much. I'm sure you're going to get off and watch the game today. So I will speak to you.
Sellers Park in a minute.
All the best, mate. Absolutely. And thanks for doing that.
Care. No worries.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks to Rich. I should have said Eagle-Eyed Football. That's where you can find him. Sorry, Rich. Forgive me. Your link is in the description below. He's sticking his thumbs up. The link is in the description below. It's a great channel. Look, it's like ourselves. They welcome fans, some of the other clubs on. Get on there, have a bit of banter with them. They are a great group of lads. As a link is in the description below. Eagle-Eyed Football. Scott just quickly says one question here in regards to Ayew. I appreciate he does a lot of work off the ball, but why had he not been creating chances or putting chances away? We were going to ask that to Rich, but I've let Rich go. So, look, again, you buy a player who could score 20 goals. Look at Ian Acho. He was scoring goals every time he touched the ball when he was at Man City because of who he was surrounded by. That is how it goes. Any player who's signing is a risk. I feel a lot happier now I've spoken to Rich. I'm not going to go off now and slip my wrist quite like I was, but if I turn up one day to the ground and there's a Zimmer frame outside, we'll know who it is. We will be back today at 2:15 for the watch along. Please bear with me because I'm trying to sort out somewhere where I can watch it. But this has been LTID TV. I've been Chris. I will be back. See you at 2:15.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.